again, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Browns Latest. I'm Dave Grendzynski, and this is where we get you caught up on some of the latest news and tidbits that are tied to our favorite team in the NFL. That is, of course, the Cleveland Browns. And then we also give you our takes and our opinions. I say our because it's not just me. We hear from you as well here on this show. Thank you to everyone who has liked our previous episodes, to everyone who has subscribed, and we are like, ugh, that close to 9,000 subscribers. When we get there, fit change, one day, I already know what I'm wearing. Thank you to everybody who has scanned the QR code and become a member of the Browns' latest dog pound, and then all of you who get down in the comments to share your opinion. That's what I mean by our takes and opinions. And so thank you to everybody who does that on a daily basis. Now, coming up on today's show, the season hasn't even started yet, and Myles Garrett's already making history. Got some info to share that will calm your fears about our running back situation. There's also this little known stat that not many people are talking about that makes my case that the Browns are going to beat the Bengals 56-2 on Sunday. And then down in the viewer comments, they did 272 million simulations of the season. And every single time it came up, the Bengals suck. We'll have more on that. But first, let's get to, we got the schedules back, folks. They're finally doing something out there. Now, we're in a normal situation here because they were off yesterday. So every week now, when they play a Sunday game, they will be off on Tuesdays. That's when they'll do their events and, if they have appearances and things like that, because they are always off on Tuesday. Unless, of course, if there's a Thursday game or something, they mix it up. But there we go. We'll practice today. We'll practice tomorrow. We'll get to hear from all the coaches, including Stefanski. Friday as well. Get some practice in. Saturday's the walkthrough, and Sunday, game 1 against the Bengals. We're going to beat Cincinnati on Sunday. But there's the schedule. And here's the thing, folks. So we have got to really, I do this every time when I start seeing numbers on Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett, just the history he's making. And I was screaming up and down when he said he wanted to be traded. I'm like, trade him. I'm like, I'm not shying away from that at all, because I hate when these guys do that to us. They want, and then he goes on Radio Row and he complains about Cleveland and everything. But here's the thing. I bring this up because he was just voted the NFL top 100. He was number 8 on the list. So he's in the top 10 of the NFL 100 right now. And, and you might go, wow, how is that possible? Well, then you take a look at the numbers and you take a look at what he's done in his career, and you're like, oh, yeah. He is really good. Here, look at these numbers. So last year, 22 tackles for loss, 14 sacks, 47 total tackles, 3 forced fumbles, and a fumble recovery. He is, now let's talk about his career, the 45th player in NFL history since 1982 to surpass 100 career sacks, and the 4th fastest player to do so. He did it in his 115th game. He's only 29. Remember, he's younger than Watt, and Hendrickson was crying about his money. But 102.5 career sacks. He's second most since 2017. Watt's got him. Watt's the only guy who's in front of him. But when you look at what he does, year to year, and then of course what the kind of career he's compiled, like this is a guy, and he will be a Hall of Famer. It's like watching, I guess, like Joe Thomas. We watched him all those years, but his wasn't as noticeable, right? Because he's a lineman, But Myles Garrett, he's out after that quarterback all the time, and so he is going to lead this defense. Don't forget, Greg Newsome. This is a contract year for him, so he'll be motivated. This defense is going to make the difference this year, because what it's going to do is it's going to be combined with the running game. And everybody in the comments, a lot of people in the comments yesterday, when are they going to sign Judkins? Where's Judkins? And they asked Stefanski about Judkins, and he's not talking about Judkins. He says he can't comment on it. My opinion is, I think they're hung up on the contract now. I think that Judkins' team is saying, we want the guaranteed money that you told us we were going to get. Look at all the guys around him. Look, they all got guaranteed money. And the Browns are going, yeah, but So I think that's where the stalemate is at this point. And so, and then Judkin's team comes back and says, "Well, you signed Bond, and he's undrafted. You gave him guaranteed money. He's undrafted, wasn't even drafted, and you gave him guaranteed money." And the Browns go, "Yeah, but," and so that's where we sit. And they're still talking the NFL, and maybe that's part of this. Maybe there's still. Maybe the NFL is telling the Browns something that we don't know. But there is definitely a stalemate here, and we definitely have no idea when he'll be in. But here's the thing, folks. I'm here to calm your fears. I'm a glass half full guy, remember. And I want to show you this. And get ready to go, I forgot about that. Or you're going to go, I did not know that. So get ready in 3, 2, 1. Jerome Ford averaged 5 yards a carry last year? He had 104 carries, 565 yards, and 3 touchdowns. 5.4 yards per carry did Jerome Ford amass last year. And then he had 37 catches for 225 yards, 6 yards a catch. He has been, the word is he's going to be the workhorse, and Dylan Sampson will be the third down back. And so, he went from pay cut to third string to now workhorse. Do you, in a contract year, do you not think he's motivated? In 3 years with the Browns, he's rushed for almost 1,400 yards, 7 touchdowns, has 81 catches for 544 yards and 5 touchdowns through the air. 12 touchdowns and almost 2,000 all-purpose yards. And I've been saying this, and you probably heard me say this a couple times before. I always felt that they've been using him wrong. They keep trying to run him up the middle. Like, you can't do that with him. He's not that kind of back. You got to get him out in space. Get the ball in his hands in space. So now, wide zone. Remember? Stretch him out and cut back. Stretch him out and cut back. Let him make some decisions and make people miss at the line of scrimmage, and then get into that second level and make even more people miss. I think that this is going to work out just fine for the Browns. And what better defense than the Bengals' 30th ranked defense to get to try this out in week 1. So I'm expecting a big game out of Ford on Sunday, and I think everybody's fears will calm a bit. After that happens, I'm more about the offensive line and the experience we have up there. And as long as we've got a little bit of help behind them, but as long as they stay healthy, we're going to be in good shape. We can control the ground game, which I think we can. Because Sampson's no slouch. We already went over him last week, so there you go. And when we beat the Bengals on Sunday, that'll be a big part of it. Now, here's a stat. Speaking of beating the Bengals, that nobody, well, I should say nobody. My brother and I talked about it. But not many people are talking about. And it's about our buddy Joe Burrow. And the Bengals, I guess the Bengals in general, too. Because did you know there is no team that is worse at starting a season than the Cincinnati Bengals? Take a look at this. The first 2 games of the season with Joe Burrow, they're 1-9 straight up, 3-7 against the spread. So they covered a few times. And then once they get past those first 2 games, they improve. 42-23-1 straight up. 43-22-1 against the spread. So the first 2 weeks of the season are the weeks to bet against Burrow. And people don't understand. Is it Burrow, the Bengals? Is it Zach Taylor, the head coach? It's like whatever, for whatever reason, they seem to start slow. And the Bengals it's in their head because they're talking about it already. They're talking about, we got to get off to a fast start. We can't have this anymore, And so listen to this. In the last 20 years, only 2 other quarterbacks have 1 win or fewer and 8 losses or more within the first 2 games of the regular season. Josh McCown, remember he was with us, 0 for 8 straight up, and then Kerry Collins. Remember he played for the Carolina Panthers, took him to the NFC Championship game that year. It was like 1994 or 95. I covered that game when they beat Dallas and they were on their way to Green Bay and all that other nonsense. And I interviewed Kerry Collins coming out. He was yelling. He was yelling, to me, like at me. We had a great soundbite from him coming off the field. Me and my partner in crime, Matt Wilkening, back in the day, one of the best videographers in the country, Matt Wilkening. Worked at WTHR in Indianapolis for a long time, and we worked together in Augusta, and he's been around, but he was great. That's where we worked together in Augusta. But Kerry Collins, 1-8 straight up, and Josh McCown, 0-8. The only two that are worse than Burrow in the first 2 weeks of the season. And so it's a factor. Like it's in their head, folks. And so that's why 56-2. You'll be like out on the deck sipping lemonade by halftime. That's how bad it's going to be when the Browns get a hold of the Bengals on Sunday. So that's if nobody's talking about that, you could bring it up, and especially the Bengals fans. Make sure you bring that up to the Bengals fan. Now, one thing that everybody always talks about are the viewer comments, and today we will start with Matthew Birch -ND 7PO. See, you thought it was going to end at YouTube handle, but it turned into a password. But Matthew Birch says, while I would agree the Cincy matchup is a good one for the Browns, I wouldn't go so far as to say that they will destroy the Bengals. It will be a tough game. For the Browns to win, they will need to get ahead and stay there. I just don't see them coming from behind late in the fourth quarter to win, pound the ball on offense, sack Burrow early and often. That would be the formula. And I agree. I like that formula. That works for me. Get a lead and let the defense take over. Pin your ears back and just start blitzing the crap out of Burrow. Yeah, that's a great, and honestly, every single game. Like, that would be a perfect formula for the Browns. Green-eyed Rogue agrees. He says, hey, Burrow will be pulling grass out of his face mask all day. I seriously hope he doesn't get hurt. Well, I'm not going to say that I hope he gets hurt. I don't want him, maimed or anything like that. But, if he happened to trip and couldn't come back, on the first play of the game, I'm okay with that, too. So, hey, man, we're Browns fans here. But to be the best, you got to beat the best, right? And so we'll beat Joey B. I like Burrow. That's the thing, man. Wish you'd have gotten a shot at Ohio State, but he's just a good dude. So hard to hate on Joey B. I like Joe Burrow. I just want to beat him twice a year. That's all. All right, this is a great YouTube handle, and I feel like I'm going to be doing a commercial when I say Mike's Chickens and Garden 3370s. Come on down to Mike's Chickens and Garden. So you have chickens. So for all the carnivores, and then you have the vegetarian section because you have the garden. So you're making sure everybody's happy. I appreciate that, Mike, coming from a vegetarian. I appreciate that. Thank you. My wife and I can go to Mike's Chicken and Garden because the and garden part is there. But Mike's Chicken and Garden says, win or lose, I don't care. I'm making my second annual Browns-Bengals game trip with my daughter. Unfortunately, she's a Bengals fan. Go Browns. It's going to be a great day. And okay, this is where we need to provide your daughter, Mike's Chickens, with some tough love. Because NFL Network analytics expert Cynthia Freeland, she did some work for us. And she did 1 million simulated 2025 seasons, which equals 272 million total games played. And what she came up with is that the Bengals are not even a legitimate playoff contender, let alone a title contender, in her final model projections for the 2025 season. She says the Bengals are going to win between 6, and she's got it at 9.9 wins. So you could say 9, but we'll be nice and say 10. So between 6 and 10 wins is where she has it. And then she's like, she took Burrow out of the equation. This is with a healthy Joe Burrow. And when she took Burrow out of the equation, they were non-existent. So even the analytics tell you the Bengals suck. I'm telling you, man, the Bengals aren't good. Their offensive line is terrible. Their defense is terrible. And even the computer knows it. So I thought that was telling. There you go. And we will end on Temperius One, who says 2 things I want for the Browns this season. Defense, create more turnovers. Offense, don't be offensive by eliminating pre-snap penalties. And I agree. And I think here's the problem. when you look at the offense the last few years, we were trying to do this Deshaun Watson offense. It was a square peg in a round hole. Same thing with Jerome Ford. That's why Jerome Ford did that in the wrong offense for him. What he did, amassing almost 2,000 all-purpose yards and 12 touchdowns. So that I think the offense is going to look so much better. It's not going to be funny. And we know what the defense is going to do. I mean, they're going to be good. They're going to be really good. You got Newsome motivated in a contract year. Denzel Ward, he's going to lock down Chase. And that front line is just going to go nuts on Joey B. So against that porous offensive line of the Bengals, but Tempurious one. I appreciate the take. That is a good one. All right, folks, Bengals week is here. Week 1 of the NFL season. It's already going to start like tomorrow. We got games Thursday, Friday. Jeez, oh man, and you got college. It's here, man. Football, I love it though. It's great to just be able to, anytime you turn on the TV, you feel like there's something on to watch. Even the Monday night with the North Carolina blowout. Who cares? It was fun to watch Belichick get his butt beat. So anyway, I digress. That'll do it for today's show. Go Browns! We'll see you next time.